Regular meeting. Today is Monday, March the 24th. Welcome you all to our 4:30 p.m. meeting. So excited about the new time, but this is a regular meeting and want to call us to order, and going to open up with a word of prayer led by Commissioner Peak, and then we will stand for the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag.
I would ask you to, if you want to bow. Thank you for this day. I want to say to help guide us tonight with our words, and use wisdom to help guide the city, make good decisions, work together as a team. Amen.
Thank you, ma'am. Please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all. Commissioners, I'd like to ask permission for approval of our agenda as presented. So the chair will entertain a motion to approve this afternoon's agenda.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, sir.
Second.
Thank you, sir. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving our agenda as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed likewise. Thank you for approving the agenda. Next on our agenda, first thing on our agenda, I guess I should say, is an opportunity to hear the public, those who would desire to speak to the City Commission this afternoon. At this juncture, the first hear the public is an opportunity to speak to us about things that are on our agenda, only things on our agenda. And if you'll raise your hand and be recognized, I'll call on you. You can come to the podium. We'll give you 3 minutes and introduce yourself to us, ma'am. Come on. Yes, ma'am. Come on up. And we'll give you 3 minutes or less to talk to us about something on the agenda.
Hi, my name is Tammy Stipes, and I just come to see where we had a new, for the cemetery, new regulations and stuff, and I had concern that I know it was mentioned they were not going to grandfather in things that were already in the cemetery. And I know we've had a Jesus statue out there, if you've ever been in Bellevue, he's about this tall, and he's been there for 35 years, and it's with our family. We got 8 graves there. My husband and I have maintained this since his sisters can't anymore. And so we've maintained it. Just concerns us to think that we would have to remove this, that we have taken care of. We keep our graves. I mean, even the gentleman that works there will always stop by and tell us how nice we've kept it. So it's not like we don't take care of all of that, the graves. And I hate to see this memorial that we have with these family members that we respect and love, that it would be removed from that site. So that's my concern about that when you all look at this, when they do the revisions of this, for not allowing this to be grandfathered in, which it has been for 35 years.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Staff will take that into consideration. Is there someone else desiring to speak to the commission? For those of you who are here for the first time, it's been our policy that we listen. We never respond back to the citizens' concerns during a meeting. We try to adhere to that policy. Sometimes if it's an issue that's of an emergency type issue, we might have to violate our own policy, but we try not to respond back. Anyone else desiring to speak to the commission about things on the agenda tonight? Hearing and seeing none, then we'll move right along then. Next item is the chair would entertain a motion to approve the minutes of our previous meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of March 6th and March 10th as presented.
Thank you, ma'am.
Second.
Thank you, ma'am. Any corrections, additions, or deletions? Hearing none, the chair will call for the question. All those in favor of approving our minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Thank you all. Next item is a proclamation dealing with Child Abuse Prevention Month. Commissioner Holland has agreed to, has been voluntold to read that proclamation. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
I'll read it. Whereas children are vital to our state's future success, prosperity, and quality of life, as well as being our most vulnerable assets. There's a little glare here. Okay. Whereas all children deserve to have safe, stable, nurturing homes and communities they need to foster their healthy growth and development. Whereas child abuse and neglect is a community responsibility affecting both the current and future quality of life of a community. And whereas communities that provide parents with the social support, knowledge of parenting, and child development and concrete resources they need to cope with stress and nurture their children, ensure all children grow to their future potential. And whereas effective child abuse prevention strategies succeed because of partnerships created among citizens, human service agencies, schools, faith communities, healthcare providers, civic organizations, law enforcement agencies, and the business community. Now therefore be it resolved that Mayor J.H. Atkins and the City Commissioners of the City of Danville on this 24th day of March 2025 recognize April as Child Abuse Prevention Month and urge all citizens to increase their participation in the efforts to support families, thereby preventing child abuse and strengthening the community in which we live.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there a motion to accept this proclamation?
I'll move to accept the proclamation into the record.
Thank you, sir. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, ma'am. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you all. I think there's some people here present who would like to come forward and accept the proclamation and make a few comments. So if you ladies would like to do that, please come forward.
Thank you all. Yes, we are here with Casa of the Bluegrass. I did write down a few things I would like to say just on the record, and we also have a couple goodies for all of you guys, as we typically bring them. So first of all, we are so grateful that you all with the commission have allowed us again to receive this proclamation, plant pinwheels, and be able to speak for just a moment on what Child Abuse Prevention and Awareness Month really means. So April is nationally recognized as Child Abuse Awareness and Prevention Month. It's a time for organizations, governments, and community members to focus their minds and efforts on the prevalence and prevention of child abuse. Last year, Boyle County alone saw 148 new petitions for child abuse, neglect, and dependency come through the door of the family courtroom. 148 children were brought before the court to find safety, security, and permanency, but there were undoubtedly countless other children in our county whose situations have simply not come to the attention of social services or the family court yet. I came here today on behalf of Casa of the Bluegrass to ask for this proclamation, a proclamation that the City of Danville will declare and honor April of 2025 to the voices of those 148 children and all the children living in abusive situations today. Casa of the Bluegrass is just one organization whose vision it is to work towards a community where every child lives and thrives in a safe, caring, and permanent home. I implore members of this commission and all residents of Danville and Boyle County to learn more about the helping organizations in this community. There are so many ways that you can aid in the prevention of child abuse and speak up for the voiceless. So thank you for your consideration, and part of what we've brought for you all today is actually a sticker of our Speak Up mural that the commission was such a vital part in seeing that we could have permanently displayed on our building to encourage members of the community to always speak up for the voiceless. So thank you all so much.
We'd like to present the proclamation to you ladies and take a picture with you.
Does she want to speak to you? Oh, okay.
Were you wanting to say something?
Okay.
Former teachers and guidance counselors, you don't.
I won't. Promise.
We worked together for a few years.
Oh.
I was just 13 when I worked with her.
Right, and that made me 12. So, oh, yes. Okay, I have two phones. smile and not talk during the picture. Okay? All right, we've already done this today, okay? All right, everybody, 1, 2, 3, big smiles. Wait. Ready? 1, 2, 3, big smiles. Thank you. Thank you. So our office is So as you're going into center, it's the big, across from Trusted Green. And the parking lot on the side. Good seeing you too, Greg. Then our discussion, yeah, we've got you guys the stickers. We actually have some kind of, Dale's got guys folios. And congratulations on have good ones. Happy. Oh, I'm sorry.
It's fancy.
We're good to go.
Yeah. Thanks.
These are real nice. I hope they're not valued at more than $15, because we might get in trouble for accepting them if they are, right? Okay. Thank you, ladies, and thank you for what you do. Next on our agenda is another proclamation. It's in recognition of National Telecommunications Week, and Commissioner Siri is going to read that proclamation for us. And then we have two ladies who are going to accept that proclamation, right?
Be glad to. Proclamation, National Public Safety Telecommunications Week. Whereas emergencies can occur at any time that require police, fire, or emergency medical services, and whereas when an emergency occurs, the prompt response of police officers, firefighters, and paramedics is critical to the protection of life and the preservation of property. And whereas the safety of our police officers and firefighters is dependent upon the quality and accuracy of information obtained from citizens who telephone the Danville Boyle County 911 Center, and whereas public safety telecommunicators are the first and most critical contact our citizens have with emergency services. And whereas public safety telecommunicators are the single vital link for our police officers, firefighters, and EMS by monitoring their activities by radio, providing them information, and ensuring their safety. And whereas public safety telecommunicators of the Danville Boyle County 911 Center contribute daily to the apprehension of criminals, suppression of fires, and treatment of patients in the performance of their jobs. And whereas Danville telecommunicators exhibit compassion, understanding, and professionalism during the performance of their job. Therefore, be it resolved that Mayor J.H. Atkins and the Board of Commissioners of the City of Danville on this 24th day of March 2025 declares the week of April 13th through the 19th, 2025 as National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week in Danville Boyle County in honor of the women and men whose diligence and professionalism keep our city and citizens safe.
Thank you, sir. The chair will entertain a motion to accept this proclamation.
The Public Safety Telecommunicators Week proclamation.
Thank you, ma'am.
Second.
Thank you, ma'am. All those in favor of accepting this proclamation, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, proclamation carries. Yes, ma'am, you ladies want to come forward? You want to say a few things? This is our director of, our 911 call center and all of our
Yes.
telecommunicators, right? Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mayor and Commissioners. We have this honor every year. It's a week that we celebrate our own. We are kind of out of sight, out of mind, and we appreciate your all support and all the city staff, and we couldn't do it without everybody.
She always says out of sight, out of mind, never out of mind, though. The least little thing happens, we want you guys and you ladies involved in it, right?
That's true.
Well, let's go down and present the proclamation and take a picture right quick.
Thank you.
I thought y'all were gonna say no.
Here you go, kid.
Very good. Very important. Survival of the city.
We're all those. Yeah. There's somebody with a camera. No, you gotta stick it out.
I hope you all realize that we do some very serious, very important business, but it's also important to have a little fun while we do it. When you have commissioners whose last name are Cottle, you have to be careful of what you let them whisper in your ear at different times, but let's go on. You got me, young man. Next on our agenda is to hear from our Parks and Rec Director, Mr. Tommy Barton. You have the next two items. The first one is Resolution 2025-03-2401, Fitness Passport Agreement.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Commissioners. These are just, I got the next two. These are just simple contracts that, just to let you know, they're at no expense to the city, and they're actually to improve revenue, so they're good things. Fitness Passport Agreement is with a company called One Pass Solutions through Optum. And what it does is it provides our members, their insurance companies will pay for their memberships at Bunny Davis. Very similar to Silver Sneakers. These are people that are carried under United Healthcare Services, where Silver Sneakers are insured by Anthem. So it's not replacing it. It's they can work together. We can carry both. Companies like the Wellness Center and Planet Fitness have these, so we've had a few people come to us and ask us if we would get an agreement with them also.
Great.
Any questions on that one?
I wasn't aware we did Silver Sneakers, so now
Yes.
we'll offer both.
We offer both.
Right.
Yes. That's great.
See, she's not old enough yet.
The other.
No, let's
Oh, okay.
pass this
Go
one
ahead.
first,
Go
okay?
ahead.
Chair would like to entertain a motion to accept this proposal.
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2025-03-2401.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there a second?
Second?
Any questions, comments? Wow. All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed? Now, and then we're ready for the next one. Thank you, sir.
Okay, the next one is a simple full-service agreement with Pepsi, and this is basically the contract for the vending machine at Jeannie Rogers. Basically, it's, they stock the machine, they service the machine, and we are provided with 30% of the revenue from the machine.
How's that work, Tom? Did they come to us, or do we go to them, or?
We go to them because they're through, that's who, before I came, that's who, the contract we have for all our concessions are with
Okay.
Pepsi.
Chair would entertain a motion to approve this resolution.
I move to approve resolution number 2025-03-2402.
Thank you, sir.
Second.
Thank you, ma'am. questions or comments to Brother Barton?
No? So there's no cost to us?
No.
All right.
That's good.
Well, Chair would call for the question then. All those in favor of passing this resolution, say aye.
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 Those opposed, motion carries.
Thank you so much.
You're pretty easy
Thank
tonight.
you.
Yeah. Something about that 4:30 start got you all excited, huh? Next item on the agenda is Resolution 2025-03-2403, IT surplus. Ms. Phillips, you're going to handle that one.
Yes, thank you, Mayor and Commissioners. In your packet, you have a list of items that IT is asking to surplus on GovDeals. We're just asking that you approve this list.
All right. Chair will entertain a motion to approve the IT surplus list.
I'll move to approve Resolution 2025-03-2403.
Thank you, ma'am.
Second.
Thank you, ma'am. Any questions about items on the list? You're not allowed to buy any of them tonight, but, okay. Hearing no questions, Chair will call for the question. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Those opposed, motion carries. Wow. Next one is second reading of ordinance 20, is that right? 2044? Madam Clerk, want to read the second reading for us?
Yes. This is the second reading of ordinance number 2044, an ordinance of the City of Danville, Kentucky, proposing to annex the unincorporated territory lying adjacent to and contiguous with the present city boundaries, located on Kentucky Highway 2168 between Lexington Road and 3rd Street, Kentucky 33, which property is owned by Stoneland LLC, consisting in the whole of 386 acres, more or less, and being more accurately described below.
Thank you, ma'am. It's got here being presented by the city manager. You want to make a statement before I take a motion?
No, sir, I don't have to. I think I would only note that you have the final survey attached that is now included, and as well as to confirm for you the notice that was sent to the county. The time has lapsed on that, the quiet notice, and then I don't have any other comments. So far as I know, it's ready for the second reading.
Thank you, sir. So the chair will entertain a motion to approve second reading of ordinance 2044. Is there a motion?
I move to approve the second reading of ordinance 2044.
Thank you, sir. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, ma'am. Any questions or comments?
Or were we waiting for the other survey? Is that why it took 2 months between first and second reading?
We had to, when you receive a consent to annex request, we presented the first reading to you with existing deed descriptions, but the submission we have to prepare for the Kentucky Secretary of State requires the completion of a new legal description in its entirety, as well as an annexation map. So when we get the consent forms signed requesting annexation, it's our tradition to present them to you and before ordering the work. And so in this particular instance, it's a quite substantial amount of acreage, which increases the amount of field work that would need to be done by the surveyors, opposed to being a small, 5-acre tract or something of that nature. So that's one of the reasons. And also the new annexation law does require notice to the county prior to the enactment of an ordinance, which is what was provided for you. So those two things worked in concert and is why it's just being presented to you today.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Cottle?
Yes.
Commissioner Pete?
Yes.
Mayor Atkins?
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Holland?
Yes.
Commissioner Saris?
Yes.
Thank you all. Next agenda item is the city manager's report. Mr. Kofi?
Thank you, Mayor, Commissioners. We have a lot of dates coming up. We did footnote all of those. We don't want to necessarily read them all. Would like to point out that March 27th is the civic engagement with the local government. Thanks to Melanie for coordinating that. That is at 6 p.m. at the Extension Office. We are partnering with Ephraim McDowell on the Get Fit Moving Challenge. There's a kickoff 5K for that on the 13th. The Doing Business in Danville program at CenterWorks is at 5:30 on the 15th. There's a Chamber Golf Scramble, that's the 18th. Easter, City Hall's closed, which is April 20th. Earth Day is April 26th, and so April's looking like a full month for us. Would like to say that with spring, you can see things greening up. We are dealing with the potholes. Would like to encourage the public, if you see a pothole somewhere, please report that. We do have a couple different routes. You can make that digitally. We want to actively and proactively fill those to the extent practical. We know there's a lot of state roads in the city. We can't necessarily control those, but we can follow up and make sure those get reported. So please let us know. And also, we would like to acknowledge that this time of year, there's a lot of litter that's floating around. We've made at least one pass with some Public Works folks. I know we had to pick up around City Hall pretty heavy. The Streetscape Award, we do have an award ceremony on March 27th. The American Civil Engineering Society is having an award for us. We received that. The water plant was the last time we were recognized by that organization. And also there's a luncheon on the 18th of April. The Kentucky Association of Landscape Architects has also acknowledged the project in their awards programs. We are having a lot of activity tied to Downtown Master Plan. We are anticipating a trip in early May where we look at a couple different hotels, trying to define that project. And also we're going to conduct a site visit to Louisville in an effort to define the town center concept. And so we'll be, hopefully after that first May trip, we'll provide a little bit more texture to our updates. We're also actively working on some of the downtown residential components, having some dialogues with the Housing Task Force, specifically Marty Gibson on that. And so we are trying to progress those initiatives and would like to point out too that Tower Hill should start back in a couple of weeks. I think it's first or second week of April. You'll see the tower painting on the tower continue.
Okay. Is that all?
That's all I got.
Any questions or comments to the city manager?
Are we going to be closed on the 21st for
Yes.
Easter? On Monday?
We're closed
Okay.
on the 18th.
I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
Yes, we are closed on the 18th, the Friday before.
The 18th,
Good
okay.
Friday.
So it's Good Friday, all right? Other questions? Well, thank you, sir. At this point on our agenda is the second hear of the public, and citizens are welcome to come to the podium after being recognized and can talk to the commission about things that are not on the agenda. I always try to remind everyone about talking to us about things that are legal within our jurisdiction, but it's called the second hear of the public, items that are not on our agenda. So raise your hand, I'll recognize you, and you can come to the podium and take 3 minutes or less, and the commission will gladly listen to you. Well, thank you all. Okay. The next item is commissioner updates and comments. So commissioners, now is your time to share with the community what you want to share. Any commissioner updates? Comments?
I just want to say the new fire truck is nice. We had the push in at 3:30, and if you have a chance, go by there and look at it. It's nice.
Is that all you got for us?
I'm not going to say.
Oh, she's been modest. Well, I'll do what she needs to be doing. Commissioner Peak has been selected to represent 10 very prominent city commissioners, elected officials from across the state, and is it a 6-month?
3 months.
3-month seminar. So you want to talk to the audience about what you've been selected to participate in?
It's the Kentucky League of Cities Leadership
Leadership.
series, and it's for 3 months. We'll go to different cities with 12 different mayors and commissioners that were picked to be on this little committee, or in this group. And so we went to Berea last time, and we're learning the first part is learning to be a better leader yourself. The second session will be in Bardstown, for 2 days, and it's about how to help develop your staff or develop people around you. And the third part is we'll be in Murray, the other end of the state for 2 days, and it will teach us more about how to help lead our community in better ways. So,
That's cool. Have you been to Somerset yet?
Somerset?
Yeah. Economic development?
No. And we're going to economic development in Somerset.
After
In
pu-
May.
Have to push all these training sessions that the citizens are paying for, they need to know about these things, right? So, anybody else? Any,
Yep, I attended the Convention Visitors Bureau meeting. Things are going well there. They're gearing up for the summer with new brochures, spending some of their money there, and they're making great headways on collecting taxes from VRBO. They had a problem with people kind of sneaking around the system, but with a little help from the county attorney, they're getting some movement on that. I also attended Parks and Rec, so that function is going very well, that department, very good. All the numbers are up over the winter. For Little League basketball, et cetera, cheerleading, et cetera, and gearing up for the spring stuff. But they're looking good with the new Yvette's in place. She's taking care of all the fields. So it's forward ho with Parks and Rec.
thank you, sir.
If you have time, support the DCA boys Wednesday night. They're in the Sweet 16, I believe, for state. So it's 6 p.m. this Wednesday at Rupp.
And talk about the girls.
Well, the girls made the Final Four, so
It's amazing I have to pull this stuff out of it.
now it's your turn to talk.
I just did. I'm good. Anyone else? Commissioner Cottle? I've got you. Commissioner Cottle attended a very, very, very important event all weekend long. He didn't want to talk about it.
Wasn't really a city thing, but I finally got rid of all my daughters. They're all married now. So, they're all off the payroll, and it's a good deal.
That was a good thing, though.
Yeah.
He said he felt real good about his new son-in-law, so
Yeah.
that's a good thing,
fella.
right?
Really good fellow.
All right, let's go home then. Okay. Next item on our agenda is payment of the bills. Chair will entertain a motion to pay the bills as presented.
I move to approve the bill list in the amount of $328,125.66.
Thank you, sir.
Second.
Thank you, ma'am. Any questions about the bill list? Wow, hearing none? Wow. All those in favor of paying the bills as presented, say aye.
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 Those opposed? Thank you. Lee, I guess that means you're doing a great job. Hope you got a lot of phone calls over the weekend, but good job. Let's move along then. Wow. Josh Morgan, Resolution 2025-03-2404, Cemetery Rules and Regulations Revision. Mr. Morgan.
Yes, thank you all. In your package, you have the final version of the Cemetery Rules and Regulations update. We went over this a few months ago at a cemetery workshop that we had. We've made a few small, grammatical changes, things like that since then, nothing major. Really to highlight some of the, when I went through, I was reformatting this, getting it ready for this final approval from the committee and from you all. And I kind of made some notes about the major changes we made, and they didn't change a whole lot in there. Many of the regulations have stayed the same. They've tightened regulations on flower beds, due to some of the issues we've been having out there lately with the flower beds just growing. They changed some holiday burial around to align with the city holidays that were actually off. We extended special occasions from 5 days to 10 days, the Christmas, Memorial Day, Easter. We extended that. You could keep decorations out for 10 days instead of 5 days afterwards. But then the big rule that they changed is kind of what was mentioned earlier in the first year of the public, is that they wanted to remove the grandfather rule because, we instituted these rules kind of this version of the rules, this iteration, almost 20 years ago now. And at the time, you know, the goal was to keep the cemetery cleaned up and able for us to maintain it as we were moving towards a contractor doing that maintenance as well. So at the time they grandfathered everything in, which was a way to kind of move us forward without kind of shaking up the entire place. So it worked well for a while, but over time it became really blurry about what was grandfathered in and what was new. It became really hard to enforce the rules that were created in 2006. So, you know, really, for all intents and purposes, the past few years, especially since I've gotten back, there hasn't been a lot of rule enforcement on decorations. So when they looked at it, they said, well, we should do something with that grandfather rule. That makes it hard on staff to do enforcement, and it does. So they removed the grandfather rule. But I do think that puts us in a little bit of a predicament with some of those long-established and kind of well-known situations, such as the Jesus statue that we discussed earlier. I think we need, you know, after thinking about that for a bit, I still think we move forward with the rules as they are, with some kind of stipulation that in situations people can come in and ask for a waiver. You know, they under special situations like this. Not sure exactly what that looks like. The question I had I don't know if it's a question for you all or a suggestion for you all, is who that comes to. Is it something staff reviews first and gives a yes or no to, and then there's an appeal process to the committee or to the commission? Or does it go straight to the committee first with an appeal process to the commission? I don't know, and I'm kind of looking down at Stephen and Earl's because we haven't talked about this. There's probably not a perfect way to do this, but I think there does need to be the committee was kind of trying to push some of this off of in the old rules. There was a lot of things in there that said, hey, come to the cemetery committee, get permission. They wanted to pull a lot of that out. And we, even over the years, I haven't seen a lot of that. We haven't had a lot of folks come to the committee to ask for waivers. But like I said, with the enforcement rules the way they were, there wasn't really a need for that. But I think if we're actually going to start removing existing decorations, which is what these rules imply that we're going to do, I think we are going to need a mechanism for people to appeal that process and say, hey, I don't think I should have my decorations removed, and here's why. I kind of like that better than just grandfathering everything in, because, you know, then everything's allowed at that point if we just grandfather everything in. So that was a lot more than I intended to say about this. I kind of just wanted to say, hey, just approve these and let's go. But it goes back to what we talked to at that workshop, is that we're going to have, if we're really going to do this, if we're going to start cleaning up the cemeteries, we're going to have to be really thoughtful and empathetic about how we go about doing it. And we're not going as staff, and my staff doesn't want to do this. We're not going to go in there and start just taking stuff out. And I mean, there's no way we're going to do that. We can't do that. So whatever we're going to do it slowly. We're going to do it we're going to communicate a lot about what we're doing. I'm looking at Melanie. We're going to try to post a lot about the processes and what we're going to do. But I don't know if you all have an actual, we could approve these tonight as is, and I can go back. You could say, hey, go back, figure out a way to do an appeals process to having these things removed, or I could come back with some new language at a future meeting. I think, Stephen, probably either. What do you think? Do they need to have that language in here, or is that something we can come up with as staff administratively?
It's a good question. I think you probably need to start thinking about this in a bigger context. What if you got 100 requests for waivers? Then you're going to be in the same position you are today, right? So I think the rules and regulations, to me, are a standalone document. And if you have a waiver process for any city code, then I think you would want to have a separate process that we would employ for all city matters, not just in the cemetery. So I would say if the rules and regulations are acceptable, with the only thing being lacking being a potential appeals process, then I would probably prefer that we have that codified in a different manner as opposed to the rules and regulations anyway. That would be my preference structurally for an appeals process.
Josh, I have a question. On
Yes.
page 15,
Okay.
the section is monuments. And I felt like Ms. Sipes' comment was something to do more with a monument. And under J, it talks about, this is not decorations. This is actually, it says, the intent of these rules and regulations is not to cause a change in existing monuments. Would something like that big, be more a monument versus a
Well,
decoration?
monument's really seen as the headstone that has the names and information on it. Anything other than that, and that's if you go back,
Oh,
it's
okay.
probably in the definition section. It might clarify that.
Yeah, that's accurate. That's accurate. The monument would be something with the family name on it or the deceased individual's name.
Okay.
Yeah, it describes, but it doesn't exclude things. So that's, benches come into play with that a lot. We get a lot of questions about benches, and we've, explicitly said in here, no benches allowed. We have a lot of benches that got grandfathered in 20 years ago. Those, a lot of people see those as part of their monument, the benches that are separate from the stones. So that's another one of those that I think, especially if you go out there and you walk around and you look at all the different ways people have utilized the space, some benches are probably fine from a maintenance standpoint. It's really, it's one of those things, you know it when you see it, and you know it when people have gone too far. That's why I kind of like this process a little bit better of saying, hey, here's why my bench is okay, the way I have it set up now. And staff looks at it, the committee looks at it, or someone looks at it and says, yeah, I think, how you have it now is fine. I think that from a technical standpoint, yes, the monument is just the headstone. And I think when it's saying no changes made to those, is we have some things in here about how those are, the types of stone you can use, how those are etched, how those are done, how they're made. We require that they have to be made by a monument company, because we've actually had requests before for people to make their own stones, make their own headstones. So there's things like that in there I think apply to that. But yeah, I think, like I said, I think the Jesus statue is like our one, like, prime example of like kind of almost a part of the cemetery. So I think it's actually the best example we could probably bring forward to talk about this subject of kind of the exceptions to the rule. But yeah, that's.
Well, it's been a long time since we've had a flood of complaints from either cemetery. And so by approving these regulations, I hope we're not opening up Pandora's box for that.
Yeah, me too.
Happening all
Yeah, me
over
too.
again.
Yeah,
To use the word grandfather, so that's it's a pretty good word in most cases. These things will be passed with an effective date. Say the effective date is June the 1st, July the 1st.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we're not going to start enforcing these really quickly anyway. If we want to set an effective date out in the future, that actually helps staff out a lot to prepare for that launch date. So that's a really good thought. We could set that out. It's middle of March now. I kind of saw this as a 3 to 6 month rollout process. I really did. We're going to get through Memorial Day and then kind of get out the other side of it, and then start taking a close look at everything. So I would say, really going into effect up late summer was fine with staff.
I think you have two options then. If, knowing that, you could entertain a motion, Mayor, that would approve the rules and regulations effective June 1st, or you could merely mark these documents as proposed and hold them for public comment for 3 months, and then bring them back sometime in the summer for effective date of September. I think either one of those two options would be your path forward today.
I would too. And I had asked Earl earlier, I know there's this ordinance that regulates the cemeteries, period. And in that ordinance, it says that there's no dogs online permitted. And in this says they're only allowed on leash or a service animal. And so they differ
Yeah, and
Our ordinance doesn't match some of the things in here.
the service animal language is new to this, and that was a committee, they asked for that to be added. So, that's another one of those, I don't know if we can restrict service animals. I mean, that's kind of a interesting, so, but yeah, the intent,
just saying,
the
there's a
intent is no,
difference.
yeah, the intent is no dogs, is the intent, other than special exceptions for service animals. So,
And I thought we were maybe going to meet with the cemetery committee. Was that ever a thought? I thought we said that they were going to come back to us and talk to us about it, about things. That's what,
we didn't realize that you all wanted them to come
Okay.
to speak just about that. So we can,
And let me speak on that just for efficiency standpoint. Typically, what we like to have, as opposed to having the committee members here, we prefer that they actually vote on something to approve, to bring to you holistically. So we avoid a dialogue of particular interest of particular committee members in a public meeting with you all, that they speak as a body, as a committee, and present it to you for a vote. So it would, I mean, you could have a workshop. If we were going to do that, I think what we would do is actually have a cemetery meeting and possibly call it a special called meeting if you all wanted to attend, or if a quorum wanted to attend, certainly. We would do that to set up a special meeting in regards to that, as opposed to setting up, some type of dialogue in this meeting, your regular business meeting.
and they did vote and approve these that you have. They voted at their last meeting and
And
approved.
to the extent that there's any type of discord between the ordinance and the rules and regulations, the ordinance obviously takes precedence. So the ordinance has a greater level of authority than what the rules and regulations do before you. So if there required an ordinance amendment, we would need to do that as well. What you could do tonight is someone could have a motion, just for the sake of path forward, that would ask that these rules, or move that the proposed rules and regulations be posted for a period of X amount of days for public comment, with the city to take further action upon those comments and reconsideration this summer, something to that regard.
I think I would prefer that, just as, from my perspective, and that would give us a chance to flush out what to do with this grandfather question with a little bit more detail. I think that would probably be the best path, honestly.
And I guess the other question I had was, if I have something in the cemetery today that is going to be in violation of these new policies, how are we going to, we got to have some time to inform our citizens that these things are changing.
Yes.
This family found out about it and came to talk to us tonight, but wonder how many other folks out there don't know anything at all about those things that are inappropriate. No, staff talks to them about them all the time, but we're actually getting ready to do something about them, and that is to remove them after a certain period of time.
Yeah, we were gonna create some, we were gonna put something on the website, create some social media stuff, and then put signage at the cemetery that indicated, hey, go to this site to read the changes to the rules and regulations, and, we won't be grandfathering these items in. And then we had even discussed, creating little tags for things in violation and marking them and and it's one of those situations where the folks that are passionate about their places, they're there very often.
Yes.
So they're gonna be easy to get in touch with.
Yes.
The ones that, if they're not there every few years, they're probably not going to be concerned with changes we make anyway. So I think we'll just have to be really diligent in person at the site to notify people that, hey, there's possible changes coming. So this kind of rolling out over time and notifications and posting, this is something we were going to plan to do anyway as staff, to roll this out. So to kind of rope it into what you all are, the approval process, that's perfectly, works well.
Currently, the rules are, if you have like Christmas decorations, they shouldn't be up now anyway, correct?
Correct.
So the cemetery, they take them?
Well, we do for if they put wreaths on a stand in front of, in the grass, after 10 days, the guys usually take a little bit longer than that, but over the month of January, they'll slowly, you start removing those items. But then when it's Christmas decorations, like inside of their flower beds that they've created, we kind of just leave that stuff alone right now. But like those flower beds have grown way larger than what our old rules allowed. So there's a lot more items inside of them. So as we kind of work with people to move those back into place and remove items that aren't allowed, it's going to take a lot of time and a lot of, communication. And I was telling the committee, the goal is that city staff touch nothing. Our goal would be that people remove their own items if they need to be removed. So I don't want our staff to actually have to remove anything. That would be great, but I know that's probably a little unrealistic.
And the seasonal stuff, it gets touched, gets moved on a regular basis. This is just things that people have put there, I think, that are long-term. Like I love the white picket fences, and some of them have gone to where they around 2 graves, not just their own graves, so things like that, I think. I'm supportive of trying to do this and do it smoothly, and I think waiting beyond Memorial Day, because that will be the time you'll get the most people in and out of all of our cemeteries, is during that time frame to get the information out about the fact we're getting ready to do some major changes. So let's talk about a motion to. We had 2 possibilities given to us by our attorney. Mr. Cottle, Commissioner Cottle says he liked the second one. Rick said he didn't like either one of them, and I keep waiting for the third one. So let's try to move this off the table.
I'd like to move on the workshop and then revise this resolution, however you have to word that.
So I'm a little unclear on your intentions, Commissioner. Do you want to post these for public comment? Is that what the last reiteration was, that these would be posted for a period of something like 60 days for public comment, and then the commission will revisit those in the summer or I guess after the expiration of that time period for a final reading of the rules and regulations? Is that what you're describing?
That's what I'm saying.
Okay. So
Looking for some acknowledgement.
Because staff will hopefully receive some constructive comments about these proposals and can do some tweaking to them and then bring them back to us.
So I think the motion would be this, Commissioner Sears, that you move that the proposed cemetery rules and regulations be posted for public comment for a period of 60 days, during which time this matter will remain on the table and will be picked back up at a later date for final consideration.
Can we do 90 days to get that clear? Memorial Day, 60 days will put us right at.
You want to leave 9 days for comment?
Yes, so that we can.
That's fine with me. I mean, yeah.
We can post some stuff during Memorial Day at the cemetery,
Okay.
maybe get some comments after Memorial Day.
90 days.
Yeah. And you worked on this process about waivers
Yep.
as well.
And we could set that up as when we get those comments, we could set that up as a workshop with the committee, kind of review those together, if that's something, it sounds like a workshop is something you all would like us to organize.
What do you think?
Oh, we have a motion. Is there a second?
I like it, but what about 60 days instead of 90? Let's get it moving.
Oh, I think.
It's your motion, sir, so if you'd like to change that to 90 days, you're free to do that. It hasn't been seconded yet.
90 days would be better. Past Memorial Day would be better, I think. Yeah.
You guys in favor of 60 or 90?
90.
All right. Whatever you said before, I make a move to.
So
pretty
90 days,
lengthy.
90 days it is on the table then. Mayor, you need a second
there a
on that
second?
motion.
Okay, I'm going to second that.
Thank you, ma'am. Any other further comments?
On the, just like on the fencing, like you've got the newer graves with the white little fences. Would this affect, I'm just trying to think, like there's some really old stones with, what is the wrought iron fencing around it? That would that have to be grandfathered in? So that's a question. You know, you've got the
Yeah.
new and the old, but that's been there for a million years, you know. It's been
Right.
there, not a million, but it's been there a long time. So just a question.
Yeah, technically, where they're written now, those would all have to be removed. Yeah.
Waivers.
All those in favor of 90-day period of comment section and the committee taking a look at this with the possibility of having a waiver process, and properly move second, all those in favor of Mr. Sears' motion say aye.
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 Yeah.
Yeah,
It-
thank you.
That's a tough.
Cemetery, you know, that hard place to change.
Are these are gonna be on our website, or how are people gonna know about?
We will get the word out. I'll work with Melanie and we will get the word out on our website, on social media, everywhere we can.
Yeah.
And I appreciate the cemetery committee for working on it.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
hard
That's
job.
right.
Yeah, we've been working on these. It's taken a long time, and I think part of that is just our hesitancy to stir things up.
Right.
But, you know, it's,
And speaking of stirring things up, the mayor would like to make a motion to go into executive session.
Died for the lack of a second?
Died for lack of a second. See, I'm not supposed to make that motion, right? So the chair would entertain a motion to adjourn. Does that sound better?
I will make that motion.
All those in favor? Oh,
We
there's
have a second? I'll second.
Second? All those in favor of adjourning? This time is 5:28.
Yeah.
All those in favor, say aye.
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 Those opposed, motion carries.